Hello and welcome to Small Business Accounts, brought to you by the Academy of Practical Accounts based in the UK, Coventry. Now, this software is designed for small businesses, and the major line of distinction between small businesses and others is that they are not registered for VAT. That is the major line of distinction. However, in addition to these small business accounts, we've got another app for sole trader accounts. Now, ideally, these ones should be VAT registered, and we also have a separate app for limited company accounts. Now, the small business accounts has got a point of sale. It can be used at the point of selling. You receive cash, you enter into the software and print out a receipt. It's used for stock management and stock taking. We use it for recording wages. It generates wage slips. It generates all sorts of period and year-end reports, including a profit and loss account, and generates lots of year-end reports, about 90 of them. Now, this is an offline app designed for mobiles and tablets. Internet is not required. However, it's only required at the initial registration. That's all. Otherwise, for daily use, no internet is required. The data is stored on the device, not on the internet. So there are no delays of accessing reports being emailed. You store it on the device, and that's it. You access reports anytime, wherever you need to. The app is very simple to use. Anybody can learn. It was designed for the DIY initially in the UK, do it yourself. But now we are spreading out to other markets. Now we provide free training and support, mainly by WhatsApp, and there is the new Messenger Lite app by Facebook, which can accommodate or works with slower internets. Now let's get to our device. This is a tablet, wider screen. Now we've got about 10 modules in this app. Now we start with the side menu. Now in the side menu, of course, we've got starting guides. There is plenty of starting guides in there. You click that one and it shows information, guides, which can also get you started. Now, apart from these starting guides here, below here, we've got a main menu, which is that one. We've got a facility for recording the business name. We have a facility for recording. Below that, we've got this one. This is a business name and financial year. This one is for setting the VAT rates if they're different from what is there by default. Now, this is for setting the recording date if it's different from the current date. This one gives access to the general ledger or the chart of account structure, which is a guide when we want to add or modify accounts. This one leads to backup and restore. Whatever is done on this tab or device can be restored on another device or restored at a future date. And then we've got the profile, brief information about the one who registered for the app. Now in module 2, we've got a dashboard. Now this dashboard is a very general overview of what is in the business. General overview. Let's see. General overview, it provides information about the profit and loss, tax and income in case it applies. And then below here is a very summarized balance sheet. That's a dashboard. And then below that, we've got a cash register. Now, this one is supposed to show the cash received and paid out for a particular month on a day-by-day basis. Now, the transactions we have recorded were on the 30th and the 31st. So it shows the movement of cash and how much balance there should be. Now, cash is a very sensitive asset in all businesses, and the businesses we are focusing on mainly deal with cash. Now, these are forms for recording transactions. For a tiny business, not registered for VAT, these forms could suffice because you got all income there. Click on that and the form appears for recording any kind of income. Then this one is for all expenses. This is for bank deposits, withdrawals, and transfers from one account to another. This is cash taken by the owner for personal use, any capital invested by the owner. And then this is a two-entry form. It's a very general form for any two entries that don't have VAT. And then below that, we've got a multi-entry form. This is a large form. You've got to determine how many rows you require. And you can keep adding. You can keep adding the rows and you keep deleting. It depends on how many rows you require. Then below the multi-entry form, we've got the general ledger chart of accounts. This one is for modifying the chart of accounts. Now, of course, this is a quick overview. We're not going to much details. Now, this one leads us to periodic tasks and reports. We've got about 34 tasks. It's just a guide because quite often there are many tasks to be done. It's got about 34. And then the blue ones are links to reports. The blue ones are links to reports. For example, let's see, trial balance. Let's have a quick look at the trial balance. This is the P6. Now, in the first quarter, there is nothing. We're going to check the last quarter because the few entries were done in month 12. So it's searching to ensure it doesn't miss out any data. Just 1 second. Just 1 second, and it's ready. So we now move to the fourth quarter. That's where we recorded the transactions. Just 1 second, it's searching the whole database, and there we are. So this is a period trial balance. Period trial balance, and the difference at the bottom is 0. Now let's go back to our miscellaneous. Now below that, okay, we just looked at the periodic tasks, and then we've got a mini year-end reports checklist. This one is a checklist for the year-end reports for small businesses, especially those that need to report to anybody that need to keep reports. So we click on, let's see, we click on the profit and loss account there, and this is the profit and loss account for the year. And there is some bit of comparison. In case of any transactions with the previous year, they would appear here, and then this one shows the percentage change. So this should be the PL. Now, however, we don't have any figures below here because the model we used for us was for small businesses, which doesn't need to analyze its expenses. So all its expenses are in there. Now below here, so that's a mini year-end reports checklist, and below here is the transaction edit. Now this is a list of all transactions recorded. This is the search box here. You type in a transaction number and it's displayed. Okay, let's see. Click on the device and there we are. That's transaction number 1. So you type in any number and the transaction is displayed. Now we can have one transaction. Let's see. We can have a few transactions. Anyway, we'll look at that one a little bit later. So that is the miscellaneous module. Now, next to that, we've got stock and wages. Stock and wages is of interest to most businesses. Those that require software need to do a bit of monitoring of their stock. They need to record their sales, record their purchases, and they need to know the stock balance. So this form should be used for recording stock sales paid. These are really cash sales. Now up here we've got entries going to the stock ledger, and below here we've got entries going to the general ledger. For use purposes, you don't know what is going where, but what is important is recording properly, and then of course the reports do make sense. So this is for a sales refund. All the forms to do with stock sales are in this module. And then below here, of course, this one is for adding and modifying stock items, opening stock. And then from 3L, we've got wages forms in case of wages. In case the business has got employees, this should be the wages form. And below that, let's see, below that, this is for net wages paid, adding employees, and then recording employee opening balances in case an employee is owed at the start of the financial year. Now, this module is for those businesses that need to analyze their incomes and expenses. You need to record an income, you come straight here. Now, these are analyzed. What you saw here is not analyzed. For example, 2B is for all expenses. Yet here, we are able to break down expenses. 4C for stocking and materials, subcontractors, staff costs, vehicle costs, rent, repairs, office costs, advertising, interest, finance, professional fees. We're able to break them down. And of course, this one shows fewer expense accounts. Let's look at stocking and materials here. We look at the expense accounts. They're not too many. Let's see. They're not too many. They're not, well, not more than 20. And ideally, in case there isn't a lot of scrutiny, any account selected here would generate a balance in the right place on the profit and loss account. However, of course, there is a default account, which is number 25. Default account, which is number 25, but then it can be changed at any time. So these forms enable the classification of expenses. So we've got a few of them here, other business expenses. Now, number 5 is for businesses that buy on credit. The forms required are found in this section. This is for overheads or indirect expenses, and you're able to change the VAT rate. Although ideally, these businesses should not be registered for VAT. So we use the default, that is T9, T2, which is outside the scope of VAT. And of course, we access supplier accounts here. Now, this module is for businesses that sell on credit customers. This is where to find the forms for recording credit transactions. And then number 7 is for forms that record loans, hire purchases, and credit card transactions. If a business acquired a loan, this is the place. This is the starting point. This is where we find the form to record the loan acquired. And then this one is used to pay the loan repaid. If a credit card is used, we select one of these forms below. And if an item is bought on hire purchase, then one of these would apply, the ones with HP. And then module number 8 is for year-end adjustments. Now, most small businesses don't have year-end adjustments. In fact, some regulations, for example, like closing stock, does not apply to small businesses, ideally because they are written off in the year of purchase, in the case of a small business. However, in case of any year-end adjustments, these are the forms to use. And then finally, we have got reports here. Now we've got period reports. We start from P1. This VAT returns, of course, applies to VAT registered businesses. Those which are not VAT registered, it doesn't make sense. Just ignore that. Then we've got reconciliations here on a monthly basis, reconciling all bank accounts, loan accounts, and credit card statements. Those accounts that have external reports that we need to reconcile with. And then below here, we've got the cash bank summary, the general ledger, the trial balances, both period and cumulative. We've got creditor balances, debtor balances. We've got the profit and loss accounts, the notes, the profit and loss accounts. We've got the balance sheet, we've got the balance sheet notes. We've got wages reconciliation, the employees ledger, and the monthly wages report. So those are the period reports. Now in there, we have stock information. Now, these are stock reports. Ideally, we should have about 10 stock reports. We're yet to update them. Now, let's have a quick look at oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. No, we don't have transactions here. Don't have transactions here as yet. Basically information about the stock items. We get to know the stock balance, the reorder quantity, the average cost, the selling price, the unit profit, and profit percentage. Now, we shall be updating these stock reports within a day or two. So when you get the fully functional app, they will be inclusive. And then we have the year-end reports. Now, these year-end reports are plenty. There's about 90 reports. There's about 90 reports. We click that plus sign, and that one takes us to those reports. So let's look at the financial statements and notes. Let's look at the balance sheet. That's B2. This one shows transactions for the year and those for the previous year. Now we recorded very little, a few demo figures in here. So this should be the balance sheet. Now this balance sheet enables some element of analysis, some bit of comparison between the most recent year and the previous year. And then it shows the change amount. What is the change in the amount between the most recent year and the previous year? Now there are zeros here. That's why we've got what we have here being in there. And if there are changes, what percentage change is that? So it's some bit of quick analysis as far as the balance sheet is concerned. Now let's scroll below here. Of course, these are the notes to financial statements. Very quick look at these notes to financial statements. This is what they look like. They show the figures for the previous year and the figures, the change amount plus the percent change. Now we have got lots of reports here. There are about 90 reports, but then just pick out what you feel is relevant. Of course, not all of them are populated because they depend on which transactions were recorded in them. They are divided in two sections. Now up there we've got tax reports, below here we've got financial statements, we've got year-end adjustments, and then section D has got VAT reports, E has got wage reports, F has got income reports, G is the longest with expense reports, H is fixed asset reports, J is stock reports, K is trade data reports, L is bank reports, M is cash reports, N is other current asset reports, Q is trade creditor reports, R is long-term liabilities, S is other current liability reports, and T is equity reports. So this is a checklist, and whenever we're satisfied about a particular report, then we can tick that box. And remember, all the reports have got this facility to print them. All the reports have got this print PDF. You either generate a PDF and save for display or access via a PC, or it's printed directly to a wireless printer. And one thing to note are these guides. Each and every report has got a guide. Each and every recording form has got a guide. People need guidance whenever they're using any facility. Now what's happening to this one? This is a cash register. Let's see. Cash register. Let's go at the dashboard. There should be guide here. Yes, that's right. Cash register. Cash register. We need to update this one. But all of them have got guides. Let's have a look at this one. They all have guides. So thank you so much. In case of any questions, then you can access us via WhatsApp. Let's have a look at that WhatsApp number there. This is the WhatsApp number, and in case you're using the Messenger by Facebook Lite, then this is the same number we can access there. We can speak via that telephone facility. We can use messages. Thank you very much.